I've tried every AI app builder out there. Replit, V0, Lovable, Bolt, you name it, I've probably used it. And the one thing that's always frustrated me is that while these can create amazing sites, there's always a ton of configuration that I need to do. I have to connect it to Supabase or Vercel or Clerk, or anytime I actually want to do something useful, like maybe sending an email to my users, it's not built in and I end up spending a ton of time debugging all of these different features. So in today's video, I'm going to show you something different. This is the first AI app builder I've found that has all of these features built into the platform and lets you deploy a live production site with even a separate database on your own domain with literally a single prompt and no configuration needed. So with that said, let's get into the video and let me show you exactly how this works. So just to give you a sense of what I'm talking about here, I'm going to show you a quick demo of something I built with a single prompt, and then I'll show you how to build it after. This is called Pulseboard, simple application to collect some client feedback. And basically what I can do here is sign in with Google. Again, this is built in by default. I didn't need to connect anything here, so let me pick one of my accounts. So now that I'm signed in, you can see there's some different projects here. I can make a new one if I want. And then for any one of these projects, if I click into them, what I'm able to do is just copy this link here. Let's just paste it in the browser. I can send this to anyone I want to collect feedback from, and then they're able to actually just submit feedback. So they can say, okay, maybe this is 2 stars, not great, and then submit the feedback. Now, when they do that, it will actually send me an email. So you can see that I have a nice styled email here that comes directly from Pulseboard that shows me what the feedback was. And then if we go back to the main page here, you can see this is the listing that I was getting the feedback for, just called test. We now have the newest piece of feedback. We can see when it was submitted, and we can click between the different projects. Not the most complicated thing in the world, but literally a single prompt, Google sign-in, databases, auth, emails, all of that here, and I'm going to show you exactly how to build something like this. So the way I was able to build what you just saw with this single prompt is by using a platform called Mocha. Now, big shout out to them for partnering with me on today's video and giving me some additional credits on the platform. But basically, Mocha's idea is that rather than you having to go do all of this configuration, everything that you need to deploy a real production site is in one platform with one subscription. Now you can use it completely for free, and I'll leave a link to it in the description. And if you want to mess around with the app that I build in this video, I'll leave a link that you can click in the description that will open it up for you so you can actually test it out and play with it for yourself. So what I'm going to do here is sign into my account, and I'll start showing you the build process. All right, so once you're signed in, the way that you can build an app here is just by pressing on Create App from the All Apps tab, or by pressing this plus button. So let's just go here. Then what you do is just give this a prompt on exactly what it is that you want to build. Now you can attach images here if you want to give it a reference. You also can choose, for example, a kind of inspiration for the type of the site. You can choose a template if you want to build off of that. And then they have some guides here on how to prompt this. If you will click into one of these buttons, you can see some of the prompting best practices. They also have this max mode. Now, if you use the max mode, you're going to use the more powerful agents, which will typically give you a better result, but obviously cost a few more credits. And then if you go to the standard mode, obviously it's not going to be as good, but it will cost less credits. And then lastly, you can choose between private or public. So I'm going to go with public because I'll let you guys clone this one. And now I'm going to type in the prompt. Now, just for the purpose of this video, I'll essentially rebuild what I just showed you in the intro, but maybe we'll change the design or the styling. So let me grab the prompt I used before and quickly go over it. Okay, so just quickly going over the prompt, I said, build me a client feedback portal called Pulseboard, where freelancers and agencies can collect feedback from their clients on active projects. Here's what I need. Users can sign up with Gmail, right? For each project, the owner can generate a feedback link. The dashboard shows all of the feedback. Give it a clean, modern, dark mode design with a green accent color. Let's add a space here. Deploy it to pulseboard.mocha.app. Okay, so that's the prompt. Let's go ahead and deploy it and wait for this to finish, or start the task and wait for it to finish. Now, while it's here, I can just quickly run you through the UI. So right now I'm just kind of in the preview mode. You can change it to be desktop, tablet, or mobile. And this is creating web apps, by the way, not mobile apps. Then on the left-hand side, you can see the prompt and you can start conversating with this, asking it various things, adding comments, etc., discussing with the AI. Then you can also go and view all of the code. So you can see it's generating this for us right now with the to-do list. We can also view all of the data. One thing to keep in mind here is that you actually have a development database versus a production database. Now, this is super important and a unique feature because a lot of times when you're testing the app, you're going to have some test data or demo data that you wouldn't want to be in the production build. So Mocha actually separates that for you, and then when you deploy this, it will give you a separate production database instance, which is best practice and what you would typically have if you're a developer. You also have analytics. You can view all the people that are viewing the page, see the UTM sources, countries, regions, all of that kind of stuff. You have email, which we'll look at in a second, so you can actually send out emails again without having to make any changes or doing any configuration. You don't need to connect to Twilio or SendGrid or anything like that. It just works out of the box. And then you have various settings, right? So you can add descriptions, previews, all of this kind of stuff. And for the project name, I'm going to go with, YouTube demo so that I can share it with you guys afterwards. Cool. So let's go back to build. Let's see what the progress is. Okay, it's still working on it. Once it's done, I'll be right back. Okay, cool. So it's built this out for us. I just realized that actually when I made the change to green, I had to reverse something on my keyboard and it still did purple. So that's why we have the same look that we had before. But anyways, what I can do now is start moving on to the next step. So it's asking me what should I build next, set up the database, add the project creation, build the public feedback submission, So let's just go with A and submit that. And now it should start working on the next feature. Okay, so same thing, it's asking me for the next step. This time, let's go implement the public feedback submission and then continue from there. Okay, so it looks like the generation was complete. So let's at least test the demo we have right now. And by the way, if you do want to directly edit something on the page, you can just press this little icon here and then hover over something. So like maybe this, and you can just change the text directly in the box if you wanted to, hello world, right? Add it to the page, and you can see that it will just update here and automatically add. Cool, so what I'm gonna do now is just start testing this. So let's go get started for free, and boom, opens up the Google sign-in. Sweet, so let me pick an account and sign in. Okay, and we can see that it's loaded here, and then it gives us kind of a project view, which actually I like better than the one that I had before. Let's make a new project. Let's go with my wedding, okay? And go create project. Cool, we now have an active project, and then I can share this link with people. I can also change it to paused or to completed. So let's go with active for right now. And let's just try this link in the browser and see if this is gonna work. Okay, so it's loading here, give it a second to spin up. And then boom, we have the ability to add some feedback. So let's just go, hello world, submit the feedback. Okay, thank you, your feedback's been submitted. And then if we come back here, let's give this a refresh and see if we get the data. Boom, and there you go. We get one total feedback, average rating 4.0, and it looks like everything is fully functioning. Now let's have a quick look at some of the other tabs here. So for example, data, let's look at the development database, and you can see we have all of the values right here. So this is the Google sign-in data. Editors, please blur my email. We have the feedback data, okay? So we could actually come here and just directly edit these fields as well, which is really nice. And then we have all of the projects. Same thing, we can view those, and then later if we deployed it, we would have the production database. Now, another thing just to note here from the Google sign-in is that if you did want to change how the Google sign-in looks, you can actually connect it to your own Google project where you can customize the OAuth consent screen, which is what that's referred to as, by just adding a new redirect URL and then adding the values right here. There's also a few things that you should be aware of. So from here, if you do want to add any images to the site or have any assets that it can reference, you can upload them. You also can add various secrets if you want to connect it to some kind of API that's not built in. And then there is also a knowledge base. So if there is something that you want this to always remember when you're building, you can put it in here. So it gives you some examples, right? Like, hey, only use British spelling, use this date format, use this color scheme, use our brand voice, whatever, you can throw it in the knowledge base. But for now, let's go back to build. And also worth noting, you can of course download and export the code, and it automatically does the version control for you. So if we actually take a look at this review here, you can see that we can see all the different versions, so that if there is some change and we want to revert back to it, we can really easily do that by going back through and viewing the versions and kind of changing anything there. And then a few last things to be aware of. If you want, you can actually debug this by viewing the logs or restarting the sandbox server just so it respins the application. And then again, duplicate, download code, all of that fun stuff. And then a bunch of other things up here if you want to change kind of the config. Okay, so all of that is functioning. And the next thing I want to do is move on to the email functionality. So what I want to do is just tell it, hey, send me an email like anytime there's feedback submitted. So let's give it a prompt like that and let's see if it can send the emails. Okay, so I've just copied in a prompt. It says when a new piece of feedback is submitted, send the project owner an email notification that says new feedback received on whatever the project name is with the rating and a preview of the comment. So let's wait for that to finish and then we'll be right back and test it. All right, so it says it's finished here. So what we're gonna do is just make a new project because it indicated that this will only work on the new projects now. So let's just go and call this, I don't know, demo dashboard MVP. Okay, let's make the new project. All right, let's click into this. For the feedback, let's copy the link and let's go here in the browser. Okay, and let's wait a second for it to load and let's go 5 stars, go great work. Okay, and then submit the feedback. All right, it says it was submitted. So now I'm gonna go to my email address. I'm just gonna blur out the other emails and let's see if we got the email. Okay, cool. So we just got the email here. This was automatically styled by Mocah. Notice that I didn't tell it how to style the email. It just did this. So rating 5 star, comment, great work. A client just submitted the feedback for the demo dashboard MVP. And then we can actually adjust this email in terms of the styling as well as who it's coming from if we want. So let's go back to Mocah. Let's quickly look at how to do that. So if we go to settings, and we go to email, we can change the default sender email. So for example, yeah, maybe we want it to come from tim@techwithtim.net, and maybe we want the sender name to be Tim, or maybe we want it to be, Pulseboard or something, right? And then for the domain, if we connect to a domain, we can have it come from a particular domain. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna connect my own domain to this so I can show you deploying the site live. And then again, you guys can actually just test this out from the link in the description. So to connect to the domain, I'm just gonna go to the domains tab here, and then I have an existing domain. So what I'm gonna do is enter it. We're gonna use twt.gg as the domain for this one. And it should give me the records that I need to add to my provider. In this case, I'm using CloudFlare. So I'll just add that, and that's literally all the configuration we need to do. And everything else will just work, and I didn't need to purchase any other accounts, set anything else up, etc. Okay, and actually I believe I'm not gonna have to manually add the records. I can just use this entry feature that they have connected. So let's see, okay, it found that it's on Cloudflare, and this should just be a one-click setup actually. Okay, so I just pressed authorize. It's now adding all of the data to my Cloudflare account, and I didn't need to do anything manually, and there we go, it's configured. Okay, so that was super easy. Now let's just test the domain, I guess, although it might take a second to connect. And hopefully we're gonna be good to go, and then it should connect the email as well. Okay, so the domain took a few seconds, it's now connected, and then what I need to do is actually publish the app. So I'm gonna go here to the publish button, just make sure the domain is selected, and press on this, and then it should be available live on that domain in just 1 minute. Okay, and I just went to twt.gg now. I mean, you guys can literally test this. It should be live when you see the video, and you will see that the website is here. And then let's sign in with Google. Okay, and we can see that we're signed in. We get brought to the page, and then we can start making a project. And notice that I signed in with the same account that I had previously, but because of how Mocha works, we're now working inside of, let's go and view it here, the production database. So I can actually view the production database. I can see the different user, and notice that there's no feedback or no projects right now, whereas in development, there is. So that separation is super cool. And again, a feature that I really appreciate as someone who is a developer and understands what can happen here. So let's just do website redesign. I just want to test that this is gonna work. Okay, let's create that. And then there we go, we have the project, and we can start submitting the feedback. And actually, let's do a quick test here, and let's see if the analytics are updating now, and if we can see, okay, cool. So we get one unique visitor. We can see that's coming from Thailand, where I'm currently recording this video in Chrome, and we can see all the different pages that we viewed, the UTM sources, and all of that fun stuff. And I'm sure if I refresh this after this video goes live, we'll see a lot more data. Okay, and then last thing, let's just make sure the email sending is gonna work in production here. So let's copy this, paste this in here on twt.gg. Let's go, hello world, 1 star, submit the feedback, and let's go to our email and see if it comes in here in a second. Okay, and you can see that it came from Pulseboard. We have the new feedback received on website redesign, and then later, once the email gets connected on the domain, I can change this so it's coming from my email address, but it just takes a little bit of time to propagate, so I'm not gonna show that right now. Okay, but that's it. That is everything. That is using Mocha to create a full production website in literally just a few minutes with a custom domain, email, auth, production, dev database, analytics, all of the features that you would need. Pretty impressive. And overall, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Feel free to clone the project from the link in the description, and I will see you in the next one.